Why do you want to make it in your business? Do you have a reason that you tell everybody else, but there are reasons that only you know? Like maybe you tell everybody else that you want to make a big impact in the world, which is true, but the real reason you tell yourself is because you want to stop hurting, because you want financial stress in your life to disappear. And what a bonus it would be if you could do that at the same time that you're doing something that you love and helping others. Whatever your reason is, I wanted to bring you way behind the scenes of my business and my life today to tell you about a result of my business success that I could have never predicted. And it has to do with my marriage. So if you're ready for a dose of reality, stick around because we're about to get real here. Hi, my name is Ina Coveney. I am a business coach. I specialize in monetizing tiny audiences, and I'm the host of the Get Clients First podcast, where I talk to you, my coaches, on how to get a business that works, get a six-figure business going out there, even if you have a small audience, by doing what? By getting clients first. Our philosophy here is that you do not need all the vanity metrics or a huge follower count in order to be successful in your business. And I show you how through lessons inside this podcast. I also interview the top coaches in the world about their true startup story so that you can get all the gold nuggets that are going to pave your path to success. And today I want to share with you something wonderful that happened based on my business success that I would have never predicted. And actually, this is, you could call a part 2 of the last episode. In the last episode, episode 232, I shared with you the story of how I was able to pay for my dream vacation for me and my husband to go on a luxury cruise last week. We just got back literally a week ago. How I was able to make that happen using my business earnings, even though I have a small audience and I'm not making 7 figures yet. So if you would like to know exactly how I did that and hear the background story of that trip, go to episode 232. If you're not watching this on YouTube right now, you know that these episodes are also on YouTube. So you can head over to my YouTube channel and just find the right episode there, or you can click on the link to the show notes and I will take you straight there. So before I'm able to tell you exactly what the wonderful, unexpected result was, which we've been experiencing since we got back from that luxury vacation, I need to tell you what things were like before the trip. And it all started when I quit my job. Back in 2018, I quit a 6-figure job in corporate. I was a software project manager in corporate at a startup in Boston, and I had stock options and I had great healthcare and I had all of these perks. In fact, my husband and I were making about the same amount of money per year. You know, if you file taxes jointly, the person who makes the most money is considered by the IRS, by the tax authorities, the head of household. So their name has to go first. And sometimes his name would go first, sometimes mine would go first. And when I quit, it was a huge shock to our family finances because we were essentially cutting our income in half. Now, I don't care how much money you make. It could be very little, it could be a lot. Cutting it in half will be a strain. And this is something my husband and I, we talked about it. We made a decision that it made sense. I had just had a baby. If you want to hear all about my story of quitting corporate, you can go back to episode 51, where I recount the entire thing with all the dirty details. Yeah, it was not an easy thing for us to do. So, but my husband is one of the kindest, nicest man you will ever know. And he knew that it was my dream to start my own business and to make it work. So he was extremely patient with me. I didn't have to contribute to the money, to the personal finances, to the house finances while my business was growing. He was very patient. But at the same time, you got to admit, that's got to be a lot of financial pressure to put on one person, to feel like now the entire livelihood of my entire family is on my shoulders. That's what went into my husband's shoulders. So what he was going through was a lot of financial stress. Now, regardless of how much money you make, whether it's a lot or a little, slashing it in half is going to be a strain. So at that moment, we both started to feel a certain amount of stress, tension, and guilt. We essentially manufactured a power imbalance in the relationship. Our new dynamic that we developed over the years was one surrounded by guilt. I felt guilty that I wasn't making enough money in my business to meet financial stress demands, right? To alleviate my husband's financial stress. I felt guilty that when I was working on my business, I wasn't taking care of my kids. I felt guilty that when I was taking care of my kids, I wasn't working on the business. And at the same time, feeling like I'm trying to grow a big business and have really big dreams with both hands tied behind my back. So that guilt is right there starting to build. And every time I would see my husband, I would feel like I am not contributing enough. Now, I can only guess at what was going through my husband's head at the time. This is not his podcast, so I'm not going to be talking a lot about what potentially could be going through his mind. But I can tell you right now that he missed having two incomes. He missed having two equal incomes and having unlimited resources. And he missed those days. And at the same time, he could sense my weird energy, right? My weird energy that was coming from guilt. He started to interpret it as me thinking that he's not pulling his weight with the kids. I never gave him that impression, but that's how he started to interpret my weird energy. Like he felt like maybe I was resenting him because I wanted to work on my business and somebody else should be taking care of the kids. While on his side, he's like, no, wait, you are staying home so that you can also take care of the kids. So this became a whole really toxic ball of guilt on his side, feeling like, oh my goodness, Ina wants me to do more and I can't because I'm working full time and I'm just trying my hardest. And then me on this side thinking, oh my goodness, my husband is feeling financial stress and there's nothing I can do about it. And I'm here taking care of the kids and I can't grow my business. How am I supposed to do this? So can you feel that tension? Can you feel that tension? Is that something that you're familiar with? If so, like DM me right now because I will commiserate with you. So for years, that was our dynamic. Me feeling guilty, him feeling guilty, him feeling like I'm making him feel guilty, me feeling like I'm making myself sick over the fact that my business is not making enough money. So I did, if you look at episode 232, I explained to you how you can start to pay yourself. So I started doing that. To alleviate the financial pressure, I started to pay myself. At first, it was very little, right? But it was appreciated. And then it was a lot more. So I'm contributing to the household more. I thought that would alleviate a lot of the pressure. I started to prioritize sending money to my personal account every month, a significant amount, really waging the fact that I was paying my coaches a lot more than I was paying myself and wanting to correct that imbalance. So I did that. It took me about I did that for a whole year before we went on the luxury cruise, where I'm actually contributing to the finances. And I thought that would take care of it. I thought that would take care of the financial stress. I thought that would take care of our guilt. I thought that would take care of everything. But the tension had already been built. It was already 4 years of buildup, of tension, of guilt. But you know what? At the core of it, we knew we love each other very much, and all we wanted was for each other to be happy. But those years of tension were really starting to take a toll. And they weren't just going away, right? If you know anything about conflict resolution, you got to talk things out. External things like bringing more money into the household don't change our feelings of guilt, our feelings of resentment. And the thing is, that we had created a pressure cooker environment where if my business wasn't making $1 million a year yet, that was creating a lot of tension. So before we went on the trip, we actually had a very honest conversation where we put our feelings on the table and where we told each other exactly where our points of guilt and resentment were so that we could start clearing the air, so we could start to trust each other's intentions again. So that happened 2 weeks before the trip. And we were in a much better spot after that conversation. But something happened during that trip. Something happened when I surprised him with a luxury vacation that we had not taken anything similar to it in 15 years. Because so far, before that trip, all he knew was that my business success was measured in how much money I was contributing to personal finances. And that's it. That's all he saw. My husband is not on social media. He does not see me doing my thing. Even if he was on social media, I'm not sure he would want to follow me, right? He can't see success other than how much money I'm bringing in. So when we went on that trip, and it was a luxury vacation where he didn't have to think about work, where all he had to do was drink and be merry, where all he had to do was just sit in the hot tub with me and watch the sunset, where we could go to the casino and spend a little money and end up making a little money in the casino, where we could go and just have fancy dinners at 5-star restaurants without blinking an eye. It was through that trip and through that second honeymoon that he started to realize that my business is not just my pet project. So let me say that one more time. It took something else, something other than money into the account, for him to see that when my business succeeds, it impacts our family. And there's gotta be something other than money, because money, we fantasize about it so much that we think it's going to solve all of our problems, when in reality, money itself doesn't do anything. It's not the money sitting in your account. It's not just getting a big check. That doesn't do anything. It's what we do with it that does. So it took me 5 years of earning over $250,000 over this time. It took me that long and that kind of revenue to finally say to myself, I think I can actually use this money to benefit my family, to give my very hardworking husband a vacation, to do something else, to not just feed money into an account. It's not just to funnel money into an account, but he realized that my success can mean something tangible for him. And the result that I wanted to tell you about today that just totally shocked me, it shocked me, was that when we got back, my husband saw me and my business, my intentions in a completely different light. While we were out on the trip, we had lunch with a couple that was there. And they were not a real couple. It was a couple of guys who were not together, a couple of guys who were friends. And we're having lunch, and they asked me about how we ended up here. And I told them, actually, this is a surprise birthday and anniversary present for my husband from me. And I told them that my husband is such a, reserved guy that it's very hard to get out of him what is it that he wants, what is something he would like. He jokes that at one point he set up a password question that said, the password question was something like, what country would you like most to visit? My husband can't even think in those terms. He doesn't know what country he would like to visit. So he told them, you guys, I don't know what I want to do with my life. If I knew what countries I wanted to visit, I'd be able to get into my bank account. And it was the most hilarious things I had heard in the world. So anyway, that's my husband. He doesn't know, like, what leisure thing he could do in his life. He doesn't think that way, right? So I told our lunch partners that he really had to be very careful what he said around me, because he knows that if I hear it, I will do everything to make his dreams come true. And one of the guys who was there, he just kind of looking like in awe. And my husband pulled me aside after. He's like, "Did you see his face when you said that?" I'm like, "No, actually, I thought everybody was bored by what I was saying. I wasn't paying attention." He said, "That guy was looking at you like, man, I wish somebody in my life did that for me." And that was so wonderful to hear from my husband's lips, because clearly that guy didn't say that. This is something my husband came up with in his head, his interpretation of that guy's face. And the fact that now he's starting to realize that, wait, my wife loves me. She's not in this business just for herself. She's not in this business just to live her best life. She's not in this business just to frivolously make money. She loves me and she wants a better life for us. And this is proof of it. That our dynamic when we got back from the trip, after we spent 4 nights staring up into the stars, because that's what we did every night before we went to bed. We would go out on the deck. The weather was beautiful, and we would just stare up at the sky. One night, the moon was so bright and orange and beautiful and coming through dark clouds in the horizon that there were people behind us in the deck who rushed to the back of the ship, that rushed to the veranda and said, "There's something on fire out there." They thought there was something on fire. And my husband and I were sitting there, "No, you guys, that is just the moon." That's how beautiful this experience that I had with my husband was. And when we got back, my husband started helping me more, but I can't even tell you whether he would have helped me or not if we had come back from a different trip or if it was something else. I can only tell you that my perspective also changed, because now I wasn't feeling guilty whenever he helped. Because whenever he would try to help me with something related to the kids, I'd feel guilty, that I'd be like, "No, wait, the reason I don't have a full-time job, a traditional full-time job, is so that I can take care of the kids. So when my husband tries to take care of the kids, I feel guilty that he does." And he actually helped me. He helped me with the laundry. He helped me tidy up the house. He helped me with the kids. And things just feel different in my relationship. He started to know, to really understand why this business is for him. It's for my family. It's not just for me. This is not a frivolous thing that I'm doing just for money. This is not just a frivolous chase after $1 million. This can actually impact his life for the better. And our relationship has never been better. It's almost like we broke it. We broke the power dynamic. We broke the toxic guilt mongering, right, to each other without even knowing it. Something broke in a good way. And I can't wait to see what else we do with this business. As soon as we got back, he said, "Okay, when are we going to start saving for the next one? And where are we going?" It was so wonderful to be able to experience a relationship the way that it used to be when there was no power dynamic, when we were both making the same amount of money and it felt automatically equal. And then it just kind of shifted in a different way. And now it's back. And it has nothing to do with replacing my salary. It has nothing to do with how much money I'm putting into the bank account, because I've been doing that for a whole year and the guilt was still there. It was showing him in terms that he can now tangibly see and understand that my business can help our family in more ways than one. So I wanted to share this with you so much, because we start our businesses and we think we just want the financial stress to be over, right? We want to have just money in the bank so that we don't have to worry about it anymore. But there's so many other things that you can be doing with your earnings that will completely change the course of your life. And I really feel like this trip and the fact that my business was able to pay for it has changed the course of mine. So this is why I do this. I want everybody who's listening to this to also experience that, to experience so many more ways of making it, quote unquote, making it in your business. So if you want to do that with me, there is a masterclass happening. It's a free class that you can take right now, where I will teach you how to create a 6-figure coaching offer from scratch, even if you have a small audience. So you need to go and sign up for that because it's completely free. And I will share with you what you need to do so that over the next 12 months, you're working towards building up a 6-figure offer, and you can take advantage of everything that your business can give you, which is so much more than money. So go sign up for that masterclass right now. It's called tinyaudience.masterclass.com. The link is below. So you can just open up a browser and go to tinyaudience.masterclass.com. And I really can't wait to show you how you can get started so that a year from now, you are recording your own podcast about all the wonderful things that your business has done for you other than money. Go to tinyaudience.masterclass.com and I'll see you on the next one.